Princess Leonor's lavish wedding costs finally rebrand, every secret exposed. The world expected glamour, yes. They expected tradition, yes. They expected a royal wedding worthy of Spain's future queen. But no one expected what was finally revealed. The costs, the scale, the sheer detail of Princess Leonor's wedding rebranded every idea of royalty we thought we knew. And when the secrets were exposed, they shocked even those who thought they had seen it all. A royal wedding is never just about love, it is about power, history, politics, and the delicate balance between the private lives of monarchs and the public eye that funds their grandeur. And in Leonor's case, this balance was stretched to its limits. Because her wedding was not just a ceremony, it was a global event with a price tag that speaks louder than any vow. So, what really happened behind palace doors? What was Spain told, and what was carefully kept in the shadows until now? From the very beginning, the planning of Leonor's wedding raised questions. The Spanish monarchy is not without its controversies, questions of spending, questions of transparency, questions of duty in a modern world that often questions the relevance of kings and queens. Yet, when it came to Leonor, there was a sense that this moment would be different. Her reign, her love, her wedding, it would be the beginning of something new. That promise came with a word repeated again and again: rebrand. But what does it mean to rebrand a royal wedding? For centuries, European royal weddings followed a script: grand cathedrals, lavish gowns, priceless jewels, banquets that stretched into the night, and budgets that quietly exceeded what most nations could spend on entire projects. Leonor's wedding, however, came with a twist. The palace claimed it would be a blend of tradition and modern restraint. But when the numbers were finally revealed, the truth painted a far more complicated picture. The dress. Let's start there. Rumors swirled for months: Spanish designers, French haute couture, or perhaps a secret collaboration that would symbolize Europe's unity. What was finally unveiled stunned even her closest followers. A gown embedded with threads of history, literally woven with silk sourced from centuries-old looms in Granada, hand-embroidered with symbols representing Spain's kingdoms. The cost: more than the average citizen could ever dream of earning in a lifetime. Yet the palace described it as timeless, priceless, beyond measure. Was it artistry, or extravagance? Then, the venue. The cathedral chosen was not just historic, it was political. By holding the ceremony there, Leonor was making a statement about unity, about tradition, about continuity in a Spain that often feels divided. But hosting such an event came at a cost: millions in security, restorations, and arrangements that left taxpayers murmuring, who is really paying for this day of splendor? And then came the guest list. Royals from across Europe, dignitaries, heads of state. But what truly shocked was not who attended, but what it cost to host them. Entire wings of palaces were refurbished, fleets of cars were commissioned, private flights arranged. And yet, the palace insisted, this was not indulgence. This was diplomacy dressed in the form of celebration. But here is where the story takes a deeper turn. While the public was fed images of beauty and love, insiders whispered about the palace's careful rebrand. It was not just about Leonor marrying. It was about Leonor becoming the face of a monarchy that desperately needed to modernize. The money, the extravagance, the lavish details, these were not accidents. They were deliberate. Every jewel, every floral arrangement, every carefully orchestrated camera angle was designed not just to dazzle, but to redefine what it meant to be royal in the 21st century. Still, the questions remained. Could such a lavish display truly connect with ordinary Spaniards struggling with economic realities? Or would it deepen the divide between the palace and the people? The answer lay in the secrets that slowly began to surface. Hidden contracts, last-minute negotiations with luxury houses, discreet partnerships with sponsors who wanted their brands tied to royalty. What had been presented as tradition was, in fact, a carefully choreographed dance of money and power. The rebrand was not just about optics, it was about survival. And yet, there was another layer. Behind the extravagance, Leonor herself reportedly struggled. Insiders claim she argued for simplicity, for a wedding that honored her love and her people rather than drowning in excess. Her vision, they say, was more restrained, more authentic. But the weight of monarchy, the expectations of history, and the demands of politics pressed upon her shoulders until compromise became inevitable. The lavishness was not hers alone, it was the crown's. That tension became most visible on the day itself. As Leonor walked down the aisle, her eyes glistened not only with the joy of a bride but with the awareness of the stage upon which she stood. Every step was a performance, every smile an act of diplomacy, every moment a balancing act between her private heart and her public duty. And when Spain saw the final bill, the whispers began to grow louder. Was this a wedding, or a coronation disguised as love? Was this celebration a symbol of hope, or a reminder of inequality? Yet, here lies the paradox. Even as critics spoke, millions watched with awe. The beauty, the grandeur, the love story, it captured imaginations across Europe and beyond. The very extravagance that sparked outrage also rekindled fascination with royalty. The rebrand had worked, but at what cost? In the weeks that followed, revelations continued to surface. The flowers imported from multiple countries, the jewels borrowed and discreetly insured for sums beyond imagination, the security bill that rivaled military budgets. Every secret exposed added to the growing picture of a wedding not just celebrated, but engineered. And still, Leonor's humanity shone through. In the quiet moments, her hand trembling as she exchanged vows, her whispered words to her groom, the smile she gave her family, those were not scripted. Those were not rebranded. They were real. And it was in those moments that Spain, even with its doubts, fell in love again with its queen-to-be. So what do we make of it all? A lavish wedding, rebranded as modern. A monarchy, clinging to relevance through spectacle. A young woman, torn between duty and desire, stepping into a role that demands everything while leaving so little of herself untouched. Every secret exposed tells us this: Leonor's wedding was not just an event. It was a message. A message that Spain's monarchy is not fading quietly, it is fighting to stay alive in the only way it knows how. Through grandeur. Through spectacle. Through the kind of beauty that blinds, even as it raises questions. And for the world, it worked. Spain was on every front page. Leonor was on every screen. And her wedding, whether loved or criticized, was unforgettable. The question that remains is not how much it cost, or even who paid. The question is what comes next. Will this rebrand carry Leonor into a reign defined by connection and modernity? Or will the extravagance of her first great moment become a shadow she must fight to escape? Only time will tell. But one truth is undeniable. Princess Leonor's wedding has left its mark, not just on Spain, but on history. And every secret, now exposed, reveals a monarchy reinventing itself before our very eyes.